SK hynix may build a memory fab in Miyagi Prefecture, Japan. That's the report that just landed. But I don't think the heart of this story is whether or not a fab comes to Miyagi. One of the world's top memory makers may have started looking for its next production base outside Korea, with 2030's AI demand in mind. That signal is what deserves the most attention here. Hello everyone, I'm Ty, with 31 years in the semiconductor industry. Today, I'll walk you through the report that SK hynix might build a fab in Miyagi, and the company's own response to it. By the end of this video, you'll understand three things: how to read the company's line that nothing has been decided, what kind of memory it would make if it were built, and the time frame you should actually be watching. Let's get started. As always, let's start with something familiar. Picture a wildly popular bakery chain. Its signature bread flies off the shelves, and no matter how much they bake, they can't keep up with orders. Business is booming. At home, this company already has several huge new bakeries under construction. Demand is growing so fast that they've pulled completion dates forward by years. Even so, they worry that the current plans alone may not be enough to handle the orders coming their way. Then one day, in a town across the sea, a rumor spreads. The company's chairman was apparently spotted touring the area. The local paper makes a fuss. Is the new bakery coming here? The whole neighborhood starts buzzing. The company's answer went like this: "We are looking at various ways to add capacity, but nothing has been decided." They didn't deny it outright, but they didn't confirm it either. It sounds frustratingly non-committal, doesn't it? But here's the thing. With a factory, you can't start hunting for land after you've decided to build. Water, power, workers, roads. Quietly surveying candidate sites years in advance is simply standard practice. So what matters may be less whether the rumor is true, and more that the search for the next site has already begun. From here, let's look at how this plays out in the real industry. On August 21st, Bloomberg reported on Korean media coverage saying SK hynix is considering building a memory semiconductor fab in Miyagi Prefecture. SK hynix is Korea's memory giant and the company leading the world in HBM, the high-performance memory used for AI. In response, SK hynix formally answered an inquiry from the Korea Exchange the same day and filed a document with the same content to U.S. securities regulators. It said the company is reviewing various measures, including establishing additional production sites, to strengthen the competitiveness of its memory business, while stating clearly that nothing has been decided at this point. It will disclose more once details are set, or within 1 month. The original Korean media report named Miyagi as the candidate site and put the investment at tens of trillions of won, roughly several trillion yen. There are also reports that the chairman of SK Group recently visited the area in person. But the location, the amount, and the product are all things the company has never officially decided or announced. Behind this is the rapid expansion of HBM demand for AI. SK hynix is already scaling up capacity heavily inside Korea. On August 7th, it announced plans to invest a combined 54 trillion won in the Y2 fab in Yongin and the M17 fab in Cheongju. If this Japanese fab concept ever becomes real, it could be positioned as an additional site for surging AI memory demand. Let me dig in a little. Public attention is on whether the fab is coming to Miyagi or not. What caught my eye is that the company's answer was not a denial. They never said it was groundless. My read for now is that they're partway through surveying multiple candidate sites. Miyagi happened to get written up first, and as a listed company, they drew a line saying nothing has been decided. On the flip side, if a multi-trillion yen fab plan were really taking shape in Miyagi, the surrounding area would be far noisier by now. A fab needs enormous power, industrial water, wastewater treatment, roads, environmental measures, even national subsidies. So far, nothing that concrete has surfaced. So if they did build, what memory would it make? The first thing that comes to mind with Miyagi is NAND. Next door in Kitakami, Iwate, Kioxia and SanDisk have NAND fabs, and Tokyo Electron Miyagi is in Taiwa Town in Miyagi. But SK hynix also has capital ties with Kioxia. That raises the opposite question. Is there really a point in putting its own NAND fab right next door? HBM is not out of the question either. As HBM demand grows, so does the need for capacity in the advanced DRAM wafers behind it. By the way, the investment figures announced in Korea are mainly for buildings and facility infrastructure. Production equipment is counted separately, so you can't guess NAND versus DRAM from a headline number like tens of trillions of won alone. My conclusion is that we can't narrow it down to a product. What I'm most curious about isn't the product, it's the timing. Look at the plans inside Korea. Yongbin's Y1 is set to open its first clean room in February 2027, followed by Cheongju M17 in December 2028, and Yongbin Y2 in June 2029. On top of that, in June, the company unveiled a long-term investment concept, 600 trillion won for Yongbin, 100 trillion for Cheongju, and 400 trillion for southwestern Korea, 1,100 trillion won in total. It also pulled the completion of Yongbin's 4 fabs forward by 12 years, from 2045 to 2033. The late 2020s into the early 2030s are already packed with domestic Korean projects alone. So even if Miyagi really was a candidate, that doesn't mean a fab goes up soon. In fact, SK hynix itself explained in June that Yongbin alone cannot meet future demand, and that it will prepare a new production base in southwestern Korea. The thinking, our current sites aren't enough, so let's start looking for the next one now, is already out in the open. The chairman's visit, rather than evidence a final decision is near, fits naturally as upstream evaluation of candidate sites. I think the search has begun for the fab after next, aimed at the 2030s and beyond. What about for Japan? If this really happens, I think it could become the trigger for Tohoku to grow into a global memory cluster, alongside the NAND fabs in Kitakami and Tokyo Electron Miyagi. The ripple effects on local jobs and infrastructure wouldn't be small either. That said, and I'll say it again, there's a real chance nothing gets built at all. So what should you watch next? First, the additional disclosure due within 1 month of August 21st, the date on the US filing, so around September 21st. Will something concrete come out, or will it be no decision again? I see that as the first checkpoint for measuring how real this Miyagi story is. Let me wrap up. SK hynix was reported to be considering additional production sites, including in Japan, and the company says nothing has been decided. But that answer is not a denial, and we can now see that the search for the next fab is in motion. More than whether it comes to Miyagi, one of the world's memory giants may be putting Japan on its candidate list for the 2030s. That's where the real interest in this news lies. That's all for today. I'll keep bringing you semiconductor news and analysis, so if you found this useful, please like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. This has been Ty on Semiconductor News Decoded.